Okay, I know I'm late. I apologize. It's been one of those mornings where, if anything could go wrong, it will go wrong. Okay, so let's first off do a little bit of yeah, it's gone. My brain is gone. I don't have my stats for you this morning. So we dropped a subscriber. We're down to 284 instead of 285. But hopefully before the time is done, we will have our little update. Our recap. Before I forget, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not, and at any time, please feel free to hit that chat and participate. Today, we're going to be looking at some scary, dangerous, venomous animals that might be out there. And hopefully answer some of your questions if you come in. I don't even know if I have, because I don't. Okay, so we all know what a stingray is. They have that barb on the end of the body. Anyway, these guys are venomous. They're not super aggressive. Usually, they're going to react to you stepping on them, to you holding them, that sort of stuff. You could probably get away with maybe touching them, maybe, but why would you do that? The tail is the part that holds the barb, and they swing that around to get you with it. The barb has a layer of skin, and if you get that in you, it could break off. A strike probably isn't going to be fatal depending upon where you get hit. However, if it's in the right place, it could cause serious damage. The barbs can break off, and when they break off, they get into the tissue, and you could end up getting an infection. Now, a lot of times, the animals that we're going to be talking about today are often misunderstood. We may see them as monsters. We may fear them. All of which at times are very acceptable reactions to them. But let's just jump into the next animal, which is the river hippo. Now, a lot of us may be familiar with hippos and zoos, especially ones like Fritz, or can't think of his sister's name. But they look really, really nice. Problem is, they're not. They can be very, very dangerous. Now, I'm not saying that in a zoo setting that they're as dangerous as they might be in the wild, but they are very, very territorial. They will defend themselves. They will attack hippos, crocodiles, even boats. and they should be considered they are one of the largest land animals on the earth. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest. They kill up to 500 people a year in Africa. Now, that's a lot of people. This animal has a bite force of around 1,800 pounds per square inch. They can literally snap a crocodile in half. The other animal that I want to talk about is the eastern coral snake. They will have red and yellow and black on them, and it repeats. We have 3 species of coral snake in the U.S. They are the eastern, the Texan, and the Sonoran. These snakes tend to not bite a super lot, but they can bite. They have small fixed fangs, and when they bite, they physically chew the venom into their prey. Don't mistake that for a sign of weakness. They inject neurotoxic venom into their bite, and the effects of the venom can be delayed, but once they start to show, you could be in trouble. This is an elapid. Elapids are related to cobras. Let me rephrase that. Elapids are cobras, taipans, some real heavy hitters as far as venom goes. This venom can cause nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramping, slurred speech, double vision, drooping eyes, muscle twitching, weakness, and eventual paralysis. Death from these bites usually comes from respiratory failure. Basically, it paralyzes the diaphragm. Red touches black, safe for Jack. Red touching yellow, kill a fellow. That might work for the Texan and the eastern coral snakes. However, it is not going to work for the Sonoran or some of the other coral snakes. It may not work for the Sonoran. Mainly because they can have different patterns, they can be melanistic, and the color may vary based on the species. The American alligator. This animal, make no mistake, it is dangerous. That's weird. They are dangerous. If you visit Florida, it's a good idea to just consider that all animals. It's a good idea to just remember that all bodies of water in that state has an alligator or alligators in them. And if you keep that frame of mind, you might be okay. Keep your pets on leash. Don't let them get close to the water, because anything smaller than that alligator is food. Alligators may be hiding in water. Crocodilians are really good at hiding in as much as 3 feet of water. Their bite force is around 2,000 psi. Another animal that we may or may not think as being dangerous, depending upon where you live, are centipedes. And I think people are afraid of centipedes because they're crawly and whatnot. In my home state, I don't think centipedes pose as big of a threat as they might in Texas or other locations. The bigger the centipede, definitely the more dangerous it becomes because they have larger venom glands. The giant desert centipede, its bite brings intense pain, inflammation, redness, swelling. People that are sensitive to the bite, hello, may experience vomiting, dizziness, headache, and even irregular pulse rates. The Vietnamese centipede, which often becomes a pet, could cause issues with breathing and kidney damage. The yellow-bellied sea snake is a very dangerous animal, though for the most part, if you leave it alone, you're probably going to be okay. People have gone swimming with these animals and not had any problems. However, mess with it, grab it, pick it up when it's out of the water, you may get bit. Its symptoms, or rather its venom, contains both neurotoxins, so toxins that attack the nerves, as well as mycotoxins, which I believe attacks the muscles. Symptoms of its bite include muscle pain, muscle stiffness, drooping eyelids, drowsiness, paralysis, and death. Oddly enough, the initial bite is painless, and you may not even have swelling with it. You should really ignore any and all temptations to hold that animal or any of the sea snakes. The Sydney funnel web spider. For many people, we fear spiders, and it is a fear-inducing group of animals. And some spiders are not only scary, but they are also venomous. And this is one of those spiders. Guys, I need a drink. I will be right back. Sorry, I needed a drink. Hopefully that helps. Okay. These spiders are no joke. Although there have been no fatalities since the creation of antivenom, their venom is strongly neurotoxic. Again, it attacks the nerves. But it can cause human death. And usually we think of the females being the dangerous one. That is not the case with the Sydney funnel web. In the summer and into the autumn, the males leave their burrows and they go off to find females to mate with. And it's in these searches for mates that they encounter humans. They may get into beds. They may be in the garden, swimming pools, basically places where they could encounter humans, and sometimes people get bit. The next animal I want to talk about are arrow poison frogs. And you might be thinking, well, nature guy, what's so bad about arrow poison frogs? Well, they're not a very big animal. But they are capable of paralyzing and or downright killing their predators. The poisons that they use are there to protect themselves, and they actually get them from the foods they eat. So basically, in captivity, the poison rather, is not as strong. It probably isn't going to kill you, but in the wild, make no mistake about it, these guys can kill. One frog could contain as much as 200 micrograms, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's enough to kill. That is a lot coming from an animal that weighs less than a mouse. The next animal I'm going to talk about might be a surprising one. It's actually the sperm whale. And sperm whales are basically docile. They've never been known to eat humans. However, during the whaling times, they did attack ships, normally when they were attacked. They were hunted and provoked. Sperm whale calls, interestingly enough, are produced to call out to other whales. But in the water, these calls, or at least the decibels of them, are doubled. Now, the effect on the human body, if that call was directed at you, could actually kill you. And I want to take a break at this point. In the middle of this live, every one of the animals that I've talked about so far deserves to live. We are, as humans, the stewards of the earth over every single creature and plant that lives on the earth. All the things that are here on the earth are here for us. Not to be destroyed by us, not to be put to extinction by us, to be studied, to be watched, to be loved, because one of these venomous animals could hold the cure for cancer, or other diseases. And now back to our regular scheduled program, more or less. Not everything that we deem scary, dangerous, or venomous is a monster. Some creatures are just plain being animals, and animals that react to different stimulation. If we do something that these creatures see as a threat, they will react, and sometimes it isn't pretty. A lot of times it isn't pretty. The next animal we're going to talk about is the Komodo dragon. Now, this is a lizard that needs no introduction, at least not to me. The Komodo dragon is an animal that we used to think had a saliva that was just chunked full of bacteria. We now know that the lizard doesn't just have that bacteria, that it actually kills via venom. And the venom that they're using stops the blood from clotting. Animals basically die from massive internal bleeding, bleeding out from the bites. This could take several days for that to happen, but eventually it will happen. The fat-tailed scorpion, this is an organism that's on the small side, and they might actually be worth a little bit of that fear. It's a small desert creature that might be willing to find a place to get out of the desert sun. Unfortunately, that place could be your boots or your shoes if you leave them out of a tent at night. So you put your foot into your shoe, and that puts pressure on the scorpion. Keep in mind, the scorpion is just trying to protect itself, and you get stung. Symptoms may take several hours to just an hour to take effect. But once you, this is a very serious venom, and it could prove fatal. The last animal that I want to talk about might be a surprising one. I don't know. It's this. This is the Indian rhino. They have really, really good sense of hearing, really, really good sense of smell, but the eyes, not so much. They react to that sense of smell and their sight, or their hearing. When you encounter this animal, if you surprise it, if it has a baby, it's going to react. And it's going to react by charging at you at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. And it's hard to sort of imagine that an animal that's basically a walking tank could kill you, but they can. They also have, and it doesn't show it, they also have tusk, sort of, and they can use those to attack you. Oh, man. I don't know what's going on, but wow. So anyway, that is my live for today. Sorry, I don't have more. As you probably can tell, my voice is a little bit foggy or croaky, whatever. I need to get off my voice for a little bit. So I will see you in the next live, which is Friday, I think. I'm doing parasites, but let me make sure. Yes, I am doing parasites on Friday at 5 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you later.